Hello. I don't know if many or any of you have wanted to make an NPM package, publish some JavaScript to NPM, share some of your work to other people so that they can use it in your projects, or maybe share stuff with yourself so you can use it in your own other projects without having to copy and paste code. I am hopefully going to show you how to do that if you're unfamiliar. The process is, it starts off easy and then we'll layer on some increasing amounts of difficulty and configuration as we go on. So first, I'll start with terminal, pick a project directory, and then I will make a directory for my project. I will call it package example, and then we'll cd into that directory. And right now the directory is empty. If I show this in my file browser, confirmed empty. Now all we need to do to make this an npm package is to make a package.json file. And to do that, we're going to go use the touch command, do package.json, and then we can edit that package.json. Right now it's empty. I don't know if you saw, but I have some tooling in here that reads package.jsons and it errors. If you run into something like that, maybe you're on a machine that you've already set up for JavaScript, ignore the error. So, opening the package.json, we want to make this JSON, and we'll give it a name. This could be anything. Since in this demo I'm going to publish to npm, I'm going to namespace it under my npm username. So I'm going to call this package example. That's what I named the folder. Little bit of convention is that the package name tends to match in some way the containing folder name. All right, that is basically all we need to start with. Now I'm going to open web browser, put it over here, go to npm. To publish, you could make an access token and log in that way, use that as your password, or you could do npm login, which I'll do here. Ooh, this is new actually. Last time I did this, it was much more complicated, but this is exciting. Okay, open link. Enter one-time password. So here we are, we've logged in. We can try to publish. It'll fail. That is in part because, well, the error code is bad semver. So let's see what that's about. It needs a version. So let's add a version to our package.json. I like to start at 0.0.0 for all of my initial packages before I decide to do anything with the package or publish it or promote it. So now let's try to publish again. All right, payment required 402. So that's happening because npm by default, when you use a scope package, as I'm doing here, they want you to pay. And that is because by default, when you specify a scope package, they assume you want a private package. We want a public package, so we're going to add access public. And then it's publishing, and we can go over here and look up the package. There we go, published a few seconds ago. All right, and npm has this feature where you can look at the code of a package, and there's nothing in there. That matches what we have right now. So let's add a JavaScript file. And probably make this a little bigger because this is the focus of what we're doing. Let's add an index.js. Now, index has a special name in web and JavaScript. It's like the default file. So we are going to do export function double. And to double something, we need to take two somethings. Or, what am I talking about? 1 something, and return a times 2. Cool. We have something doubled. So now we can try to publish again. All right, 403 forbidden. This is because it tells us we cannot publish over their previously published versions. So if we pull up the package.json again, let's bump our version to 1 and try again. Cool. Publish succeeded. So now if we refresh our npm page, give it a moment, the version bumped here, and in the code we have an index.js. So now we will want to test, and a testing thing that I like to use is vtest. Just had a good experience with it so far. So we'll follow their get started guide. Oh, and I guess like the reason we want to test is we want to make sure that our code works. In this case, it might be very obvious that it works because we have a very simple function, but over time this is going to grow and it might do more than we initially planned, and having a test will allow us to protect some of our decisions from our future selves. So adding vtest, and then they say to just make a test file, and I will. We'll say index test.js, and we can kind of copy this whole thing. All right, and we had, okay, so bit of a side quest. My editor is finding all of these things in node modules. That is because when we installed vtest, it created this node modules folder, which has vtest and all of its dependencies. So to remove node modules from our search results, we're going to need a git ignore. By a convention, the tools that search know to look for this git ignore file and omit whatever it says to omit. So we'll just specify node modules, and that didn't work. Let's see here. It still didn't work. You know what? This is probably because this isn't a Git repo yet. So if we want to make this a Git repo, we'll need to do git init, and then we can add all of our things to the repo, and then commit. And then we don't have any remotes, so we'll need to go create a project on GitHub. So on GitHub, we can click the plus here, click new repository, and we are calling this package example. Okay, so create repository down there, and it gives us some instructions. We already have an existing repository because we already ran git init. We added our files and we committed. That was these steps here. If we do git log, you can see the initial commit. So to add a repo, we'll do that. And we can copy. We don't need to copy that. We're already on the main branch. And then we can push that up. Okay, so now if we refresh the page, we have a repository with our files. And node modules is omitted, which is important because there can be a lot of stuff in it. Lots of stuff. Okay, so now that this is a valid Git repository, my fuzzy finder no longer includes those results, which is great. But back to the test. Now that my search results are readable. Okay, so we have this double function and then this add test that I copied from the vtest docs. So we're going to import double from index, keep that, and we're going to say test that it works. The double function works. So double the number 3. And 3 doubled is 6. So now the vtest docs are recommending we add a scripts entry in the package JSON, which we don't have any scripts right now. So let's make that key. And then add, it says test. Yeah, vtest. Thanks, AI. Okay. So now we can run our test command. If we spell it right. All right. We got one passing test. That's awesome. So let's make a commit. We'll say test pass. Push that up. So now we're going to want CI or GitHub Actions. And right now we will just want that to run our test command. The way that we'll do that is to make a GitHub folder, a workflows folder, and a ci.yaml. Now, there's a lot of stuff that goes into a GitHub Actions workflow, so let's walk through it. Let's see here. How do you even start? Let's just look up GitHub Actions, and we have a JavaScript project. Oh, we don't want to create an action. Let's see. Yeah, let's go here. Okay. Yeah, name. We'll call it CI. And we will copy this stuff. And then we have a jobs key. We don't have a build, so we can skip that. But we can use this syntax to make CI run our tests. So we have test, we'll say it runs on Ubuntu latest. We don't need a matrix strategy, but we do need steps. And the very first thing is that we need to check out the code. And then we need to spell the action correctly. Man, spelling. All right. And this says to use a node version. So I will pick 18 because that is, I don't know if that's current LTS. It's new enough anyway. 20 is kind of new at the time of making this video. So set up node v3 with node version 18. And then we are going to run, so this is using npm. I habitually chose pnpm to start. That is a habit of mine. pnpm doesn't come by default in most systems, so following this may be better. And for the sake of experimentation, let's see what happens if we kind of follow the GitHub Actions docs more closely and ignore the fact we're using pnpm locally. And that is a choice in part because setting up pnpm involves a lot more GitHub Actions configuration here. So, all right, we have a .github folder. Let's add that. Say we set up CI. And then push that up. So coming over here. Let's see if it works. Okay, so this is yellow, it's running, good. This is running, good. Okay. So I guess we wait. It hopefully shouldn't take that long since, oh, it's already done. That's awesome. Okay. One test passed. That's what we were expecting. All right. So moving on. Let's say you want to add something to your project. Maybe you want to reorganize some things. We have a double function in this index.js file. Let's say we want another file. Like maybe this file is getting big, maybe this file is like math helpers. And then maybe we have another file that is string helpers. So here we can export something like exclaim. And all it will do is, oh, exactly that. Add an exclamation point at the end. Let's maybe add a few more. We want to really exclaim this message. Now, where did that file go? We have some JavaScript files in the root of the project. It's not a whole lot to manage right now, but you can kind of see that there's already a blending of configuration files, the get-ignore, the package.json, the pnpm lock file, and then we have our actual code, the string helpers, the math helpers, and then we have tests. So everything's kind of just all in there. Let's organize it a little. By convention, a lot of people use a source folder, abbreviated SRC, and then a test folder, but some people also like co-locating their tests, which is very nice. So let's move our files into here. And this is now a math helpers test. So our test should hopefully still pass. Let's see if they do. They don't. Yeah. Okay. The index import here changed. So this is now math helpers. All right. Cool. So there's an issue come up here. Like we can add these files. We can, after bumping the version again, publish these files. But even with these published on npm, we don't actually know if our package will work for someone. So something I like to do is utilize a feature of pnpm called workspaces. And big long document on it. The key thing we want here is the configuration file, pnpm workspace.yaml. That will allow us to have multiple projects in the same repo and simulate the real world more accurately. So we'll do this. And I believe some packages, yep. And we have the root workspace dot, and then let's add a tests workspace. So add tests. Now our workspace needs a package.json. So let's just add tests to the end of the name. And this will be a private package. We don't want to accidentally publish this. And then we need to add a dependency. So we need to declare a dependency as object, name of our package, and then using a feature of pnpm, we can say use the workspace copy of this package. That means that when this package is installing its dependencies, it'll link out to wherever this is. And this allows you to keep package.json changes to a minimum while the organization of your now monorepo may change over time. So with that, let's move these tests over here. And we no longer want to import from math helpers. We want to import from our package name, which was package example. And math helpers is the file within that. Now this package doesn't have vtest yet, so let's add that. cd to tests. Add save to vtest. Could not parse project manifest. So there's a syntax error in here. What did I do wrong? Oh, I forgot a comma. Okay. Adding vtest again. It works. And then we have a little notation here that our library was linked up one directory, because tests is the subdirectory and our package that we're publishing is this directory. And just before we go on, our last publish was 002. So let's check that out. Yep, we got source in here, and yeah, okay. So this is, we got GitHub in here. We do not need to publish our GitHub folder. So let's fix that. In package.json, I don't want to add a files array and say source. This tells npm publish that only this list of things gets put on npm. So bump the version, run npm publish. Packages marked. Oh, I'm in the wrong folder. Npm publish, and then we can refresh over here. It's still the old copy, so let's refresh again. Still the old copy. Oh, it's taking a bit longer. All right, 003. Okay, now we just have the source. The GitHub is no longer there. It's good. It's important to keep your npm packages low on file count and size of files, because it means that people that use your packages have faster install times. Now, you may think that files don't add a whole lot, and they're small, and it's just text. It's not a lot of data. But all of this adds up over hundreds of packages. So if every package kept what it needed down to a minimum, then the overall install size is much smaller and faster. Okay, so back to tests. Let's move this. So we don't need vtest here anymore either. But let's move scripts to our new test directory and run pnpm test. Oh, okay. We have a failure. This is good. What's it say? Failed to load URL. Our package name / math helpers resolved blah 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 in does the file exist? Okay, so it's a good question. The error asks a good question. So the package root here, let me make this a little wider actually. So anyway, so the package root here has a source folder, but source isn't included in the import. So let's add that. Source / test passed. That's good. But what if we don't want source in the import paths? Like it's redundant. Like consumers don't care if their source might be an implementation detail later on. Like maybe you'll want to compile your code. Maybe you'll want to run it through Babel. Use features that aren't available yet, like the pipe operator. In any case, you only want to say math helpers. Or maybe you want that to be the default. But that requires some configuration. So that configuration is called exports. So exports defines what your library is exporting. So here we are defining the root export, whatever the package name is, as source math helpers. And then maybe we also want to map everything else to the source directory. Okay, so package example, still saying it's incorrect. So did I spell things correctly? Let's refresh this. Okay, just needed to be restarted. Okay, so with this exports config, we can import from package example. We can import from math helpers. It's the same thing. We have another test we need to write, so let's write that. So we want a string helpers test. Okay. We can copy the stuff from here, and we called it exclaim. We now know that we can import string helpers because of the exports config. And we'll go exclaim, hello there. And it will be, oh, I got a typo. All right. So now checking our tests, we have a pass. And if we run all the tests, they both pass. So that's good. Importing from string helpers and importing from default. All right, that's good. So let's commit. So we set up a monorepo and we added tests, fixed exports, and I think that was it. So we push that up. We can open our package.json, bump the version, and run npm publish again. I'm in the wrong folder again. Wow. Just keep doing that. All right. So now, 004, if we were to make a new project, install this package, it should just work. And we can test that. So let's make a new tab here. Go back a directory. Let's go package example test. And we'll go npm add. I think when you do this, it'll make the package.json for you. Let's see. It did. Awesome. Now we need to make a JS file. And we'll go import double from. All right, and we'll just console log this. We don't need to do anything fancy. We just want to test to see if it works. Then we'll run node index. Okay. So to load an ES module, we need to set type module in the package.json. So let's do that. All right, we did that. Ooh, okay. So named export double not found. The requested module, our package, is a common JS module, which may not support all module.exports as named exports. So we've been writing ES modules so far, but we have not declared them as ES modules. And this is what this message is about. So in order to make this work, we need to change yet another config in our package.json. So like in our attempt to consume this package, we needed to add type module before Node would even let us run anything. And here we need to do the same. And now we need to publish again. So I bump the version, we'll run npm publish, good. That went through, and then here we'll update, that's, npm is sometimes slow to propagate, but But here we go. We just updated the package we published. And now if we run node index, cool. It prints 4. I think that's correct. I printed 2. Yeah. All right. So we have type module now. And that's good. Now, what if we want TypeScript? How do we set that up? Without going into why you'd want to set up TypeScript, that can be a topic for another time. But let's start by renaming these things to TypeScript and see what happens. So we know that this is a number. We know that this is a string. And that's it. Our package is TypeScript now. So let's see what happens when we run tests. Test. 1 passed, 1 failed. This is interesting. Failed to resolve entry package for package example may have incorrect main module export specified in its package JSON. So I'm inclined to agree because I forgot to change that. Ooh, we still have a failure. Okay. So this is happening because when we author TypeScript, we cannot force our consumers to be responsible for compiling the TypeScript. We need to do that ourselves during publish. So we can change that back to JavaScript, and now we need to figure out how to publish or build TypeScript. So first, we'll need to add the TypeScript package. Cool. And then we need a TS config. The TS config will tell us, well, it's more to tell TypeScript what settings we want to use when compiling or type checking. So we'll make a tsconfig.json, and there's a lot of different options that this sort of file has. So there is a project out there called tsconfig bases, which allows you to extend a bunch of different pre-made things, so you don't need to worry about it. So here we got ESM, that's good. And then we probably also want strictest. So let's say extends tsconfig ESM and tsconfig strictest. And we'll need to install these packages, because TypeScript doesn't look them up automatically for you. Which is good, because it means you can define your own version of these packages if you wish. So now those exist, and we probably want to set an output directory. We don't want to mix our compiled files in with our source files, because it can make navigating around a lot harder. So this is compiler options, and we'll want, is it out there? Yeah. Cool. So now if we run pnpm tsc, we'll see what happens. Oh, we got errors. Why? Oh, why is it running tests? Okay. So TypeScript is trying to do everything. We want it to ignore the test directory because that is a sub package. So we need to specify includes. We'll only care about source files. Run tsc again. And it is still erroring, which makes me wonder if includes is actually include, or if, I'm just looking up the config reference here. Yeah, it's singular. I was getting mixed up on singular versus plural config stuff. Ooh, I forgot a comma. There we go. So now come over here, we have a dist directory, and then it's got a lot more in it than we want. So that's not right. So it's got some duplicate stuff. I wonder if that's from any of the other times we ran it. So let's delete the directory, add it to git ignore because we don't want to accidentally commit it, and then run TypeScript again. Okay, that's better. We have math helpers and string helpers. Now, let's see. We can try to run tests against this, but we have more config to change. Yeah, we still get the same error. Package may have incorrect main module exports. So going to the package JSON, we need to change what these exports point at. So we'll say dist, and restart this. All right, we're back to green. So that is a good time to commit. Let's review the changed files. Yeah, that looks good. Migrate to TypeScript. Okay, push that up. Oh, the version. Publish. Well, over here in our test, where like having a separate project is like the most realistic way you can test to make sure that your package is published correctly. So I like to have this available for any kind of project. The easier it is to create and test a library, the better. So yeah, upgrade to 006 and then node index. Okay, so what do we have? Okay, so it says can't find module, the dist math helpers. So let's look at npm and see what actually got published. All right, we're on code. Okay, the dist directory didn't get published. Now we actually have the source directory in here still. We don't need the source directory in here anymore because people aren't referencing it directly, partly because they can't. That is because we don't want people to worry about compiling their libraries when they're using them. Like if it's an app, if an app had to compile every single one of its libraries all the time, it would have a very, very slow build time. And we don't want that. So files here needs to change to dist. Pull up the version again. Run npm publish. And then, all right, and that works, no error. We get our answer of 4. Let's say our consuming project is also TypeScript. So over here, we'd want to add TypeScript. We want a test file to make sure that our types are coming across. And we can copy from here. Let's see. No information available. That's what our TypeScript thing is saying. It's because we don't have a TS config. Let's actually steal the TS config from over here. We don't need all of it, but we do need the extends. And now let's add tsconfig ESM, tsconfig strictest. Okay, going back to here. Yep, TypeScript diagnostics are starting. What do we got? Could not find a declaration file. We didn't make one. So looking in the dist directory, which is now the only thing that's published to npm, we only have JavaScript. For TypeScript to be supported, like for conveying types, we also need to publish type declarations. So we'll add declaration true, TSE. And now we have DTS files, and that should be sufficient, right? Let's see if it is. And also, let's see if we can figure out how to test this quicker. So let's delete these DTS files, and let's make our in monorepo tests also TypeScript. So maybe that'll give us a shorter feedback loop and we can be more productive with this going back and forth between consumer and library. Okay, so this is saying cannot find module, just like the other package. So let's build. And then here, I'll restart the language server. It says it still can't find anything, even though we rebuilt and the declaration files are there. So this is because our exports don't specify where to find types. To do that, we need to change the format of this to be an object and specify types here. Like this. Do the same here. Okay. So now, if we hop over here, restart things. If you, as I go through this, if you happen to be using VS Code, the behavior you want that does this restarting thing is restart extension hosts. So we can show the test. This should have a type. I don't know that that is being pulled in. It just says import double. Interesting. Now, I don't know if I have my TypeScript set up right, but let's see. Well, let's see if I pass the string, because we define this as being a number, so we would expect this to error. But it did not error. That could be because this package doesn't have TypeScript or a tsconfig. So let's add that. I was just confused by the error, but then remembered we are no longer telling it to double 3, we're telling it to double a string. So our test is correctly erroring. So we need to add TypeScript, tsconfig bases. Ooh, this could be the real problem. Syntax error. Forgot a comma here. So going back to math helpers tests, restarting. Yeah. Wait. We got an extra comma over here now. Me and Jason do not get along. Okay. Okay, so it seems my hypothesis of no TypeScript config means no type errors might be worth pursuing. So adding some dependencies to the tests. We did that. Let's add well, let's copy this tsconfig. Basically the same. We're just going to delete that and delete compiler options because we're not outputting anything, it's just tests. Going back to here. Restart that. What has happened? Loading. This is probably what my editor was doing. The reason I use two different editors, and like I'm in and out of VS Code a lot, but it's not a primary editor, but the reason I use it is because it provides different information from NeoVim. NeoVim sometimes provides information that VS Code doesn't have. So it'd be great if just one editor had everything, but ooh, what was that? Ah, okay. So that finally loaded, and then did this finally load? I don't know. Let's go here. Initializing language server. Okay, there's our squiggly. We did it. Argument of type string is not assignable to parameter of type number. That's good. That's what we wanted. So now we have a working TypeScript library. So we can change the version and publish. I'm in the tests again. Why do I do that? To myself. Okay. Now, did the dist directory have everything? Okay, the dist directory did have everything. There's a secret we can do where if we define scripts and then prepack, we can just say run TypeScript. I want this alias too, just because I'm used to typing build. But so I was concerned about having not run the build before publishing. So I just published 008, and that's something that happens to me a lot, and I like preventing mistakes through automation, and prepack is one such automation. So for example, if I delete the dist directory and then run npm pack and refresh the view, ooh, plot thickens. Prepack was not ran. That is interesting. I'm pretty sure it runs on publish. Right. Oh no. Let's commit stuff just in case. Got TS working locally. And then npm pack. That was very fast. Suspiciously so. I kind of wonder if this is a setting I have. So I have ignore scripts changed from the default from false to true, because not ignoring scripts is a bit of a security issue because you don't know what your like any package you install could have scripts which reads something on your machine and sends it somewhere. So it's risky. I do wonder if there's a bug in PNPM though. So run npm pack. There we go. That was the issue. That's interesting. I'm going to put that back though, because of aforementioned security issue. If I run pnpm pack, doesn't print enough. So with that, pnpm pack. Still no dist. Yeah, so that's interesting. Here, I think I said I was thinking it was a pnpm error. It can't be, because I was running npm, so that doesn't make sense. Maybe there's something I don't know about ignore scripts. Does this say anything about ignore scripts? No. Okay. Anyway, moving on. So, we have our TypeScript package, which has some helpers. And when built, will give us the files to place on npm. Now let's add linting.